first, man, shout out to our sponsors. Route never stop. City to city, state to state, the route never stop. Whether you're a 9-to-5er, a hustler, or a truck driver, that route never stop. What's up? It's your boy Coach. You know what time it is, man. We sitting here at Conduit Media. You know what I'm saying? I got a very special guest in the building. You know what I'm saying? I got the brother David Bradley in the building, a.k.a. DBrad.
What's up?
Appreciate you coming through, my brother.
Appreciate you back, man.
So listen, you got a legendary story, right, when it comes to hip-hop. When it comes to hip-hop, we got our, I guess you say, gatekeepers, key figures. This brother has a legendary story from the behind-the-scenes aspect, and I would love to get down to the nitty-gritty, you know what I'm saying? For sure. So, how did you get started in entertainment?
I fell into it. Lazy little nigga in college who ain't want to do real hard work, and I used to go to the house music clubs, and I seen a dude that was in a KRS-One video, and I asked him what was he doing. He told me, because I think I was a business major.
Yeah.
And so that's really what it was. I didn't know. Now, I have a cousin named Michael G. Moy who co-created Married with Children and wrote like every black sitcom, Sanford and Son, Different Strokes, Silver Spoons, Facts of Life. And I didn't know that was my family until after I got in the industry. But how I got in was just being a lazy college student, not wanting to work really hard, and knew somebody who knew somebody, and the next thing I know, I ended up auditioning for Spike Lee's movie He Got Game, and I was supposed to play, and I had actually gotten a role of Ray Allen's cousin. I think his name was Shrimp, but the problem is I'm 6'3", Ray Allen's 6'4". And they got Hill Harper to play that role. He's a shorter dude because it was a shorter character. So I didn't get that, and then they put me in on New York Undercover because they felt bad. And I was, which was so cool because I grew up watching, I came up watching Martin, and I ended up being Tommy's stand-in on New York Undercover when he played the police chief. So that was like my first introduction, and I saw cats walking around the set, and me and Malik Yoba, we didn't vibe because I'm a Sixers fan, he was a Knicks fan, and we got into an argument over who was better, Stephon Marbury or Allen Iverson, and the nigga stopped talking to me. He stopped talking to me. It was hilarious. We sitting in the truck like this for 2 hours. Malik Yoba, yeah, he got mad because I wasn't giving him that. I was like, hey, I was better than Stephon Marbury. I mean, it's close, but, you know, I ain't think he was going to get mad at me. He really stopped talking to me. So I started paying attention to everybody else on the set. Seen a dude I had known from the house clubs, and I ran out, and he started telling me what he was doing and introduced me to someone's called a key PA. I'm like, yo, I would love to do this, and he put me on, and after that, I just started interning for independent film directors in New York, and somehow I talked my way into MTV, to VH1, and that's how everything.
So that was your big break, MTV?
VH1.
VH1.
The RuPaul show.
I wish I could tell you that.
RuPaul was one of the first transgenders to make it famous. He had it, and dude is like 6'5". It was crazy. And so I ended up somehow getting on that show, but I never had to work around him. I would always work in the back. So I would end up meeting a lot of the younger cats. Like that's how I met Justin Timberlake when he was with before NSYNC hit. And he told me what they were going to do. And they did it. He told me that they were going to be huge. And I remember shaking his hand like, yo, man, if you tell me it, I'm going to believe it because what I'm seeing. And then so that's how, and then I ended up talking my way into BET.
So you start off at VH1, then you get to MTV, then you go to BET.
Yeah, I was on MTV's The Beach House with Funk Flesh in 1998. I was on MTV.
So that was your first big break, right? MTV.
Yeah, well, I guess, right, interns in hip-hop. No, my first big break was being born black in hip-hop. That was my first break. I'm hip-hop the moment I came out the womb. I'm a 70s baby. Right. So I was born in 72. So, that wasn't my first big break. Okay, I guess you could say that. I didn't look at, because I was interning. I was working my behind off. Okay. So that wasn't no break. I earned everything I got from that. Okay. So my first big break, I guess, is talking my way into BET. BET. Yeah.
Not MTV.
Not MTV.
MTV.
MTV, that was an internship. I worked for that. That wasn't a big break for me.
Spring Bling MTV, right?
No, Spring Bling was a BET show. Okay. So I co-created that when I got hired at BET. But I was on a show called By the Book, where we dealt with black authors. So this is 99, so this is before black authors was a big thing again, in which By the Book led the way. And yeah, so I did By the Book. We did a lot of authors. It's funny because during that show, I was introduced to conspiracy theories from Lamont Sanford, from Sanford and Son. He wrote this book called Truth of All Ages. This is 1998. I don't know nothing about the Bilderbergers and the Rothschilds, and this dude is schooling me. He told me, yo, if I die a mysterious death, you know why. I want you to have this book. And I was like, all right. And then sure enough, everything that man wrote in that book, I said, holy crap, he was correct. So my big break was BET.
Okay, so BET, what was your role at BET?
I was a production assistant for the show By the Book. And then I talked my way into Rap City. I actually got on Rap City because we had a freestyle. BET was wild because it was all black, so it was wild. So like we would on Thursdays and Fridays, it would be like a club. So everybody would get together and just freestyle, rhyme. It was hilarious. So I ended up getting on the stage because everybody assumed because I was from Jersey that I could freestyle. I was like, nah, dog, I used to do graffiti. You know, you do freestyle, dance, do graffiti. I didn't freestyle. But when I got up there, this dude starts coming at me with these old school lyrics, and I look over, and it's the senior producer, the dude I need to hire me for Rap City. But he's killing me because he's a quiet guy. So everybody's going, oh, Craig. And I'm the new dude, so in my mind, I'm going, I need a job. But God, this corny dude is killing me right now. So I let my ego take over. So when he finished, I started battling against him, and I just started ripping him apart. Crowd was like, oh, shoot. And when it was over, I walked off the stage to applause, but I was like, yo, I done lost the job. But then the dude came up to me a little while later and said, yo, come to the Rap City meeting tomorrow. And then he told me later on, he said, only reason why I hired you is because you needed a job from me, but you wouldn't let me have my way with you. And he said, now if I have a soldier in my army, I want someone like that. Because I was in D.C. I'm from Jersey. I was going home. My show By the Book was over.
So BET was based in D.C. back then?
Yeah, it was based in D.C. So that's how I even got on Rap City in a rap battle. Because he didn't have a spot for me. But the fact that I didn't back down, he said impressed him. He said, I want somebody like that on my side. So I was like, cool.
Okay, so how long was you in BET for?
Bro, I did all this stuff I did in 2 years.
2 years?
2 years. And
So
the
from
2 years.
2000, 2002?
1999 to 2001.
So you experienced all that you did.
2 years.
So can we go through the timeline of the
Yeah.
major hip hop events?
Yeah. The first show that I ever, well, first of all, I used to go when I interned at MTV. I was precocious, so I would always go near the execs. I never hung with other interns. I would hang with the execs in the edit suites, and I would notice every day. 1997, every day at 4 o'clock, all the majority of the MTV execs in the 1515 building on the 16th floor would all sit and watch the end of Video Soul and Rap City. So after about a week of this, and I was real cool with a producer named Fred Jordan, the late Fred Jordan. First cat I ever met that his death, there was swirling rumors, industry stuff. I remember Fred, he took a liking to me. He got promoted, and he would always complain about how it changed his life for the worse. He would always tell me these things. He would just confide in me. So when he passed away, I started thinking like, Dad, this dude used to come to me and tell me like these little dark things that was going on that he didn't like that was happening in that industry. But he would also allow me to come around the other executives. And one day I asked one of the dudes, I said, yo, man, like, I don't even watch Rap City like that. Why y'all always watching BET and these black shows? And then one of them looked up and said, hey, this is how at MTV we tell what's hot in the black community. And then we look at it and go, okay, if they're hot in the black community, can we take this artist and make him mainstream at MTV? Okay. And I took the information because I didn't know a year later I was going to be on Rap City. So the next year I'm on Rap City, and my main man still was a PA over at MTV. So I would call him up and like, yo, did y'all watch the show? He's like, yo, he's still watching. So the first time I tried that was with the artist Soleil. I kind of put her in a light that was different than what she was normally seen in. And her album sales was like, Soleil was a nice artist. She had that song with JT Money, I. And right. And so she was talented. But I kind of noticed that the way, because I introduced the concept to Rap City of conceptual shows as opposed to just sitting down doing an interview, there was always something else going on. That was what I brought to Rap City, the basement. Tigger was already going to be on. He was hired before Joe Claire was fired and Les was fired. Matter of fact, we had known for like 5 months that they weren't coming back, but we were told we couldn't tell. It was kind of tough looking at Joe making all these plans like, you ain't even coming back, dog. It was kind of wild that he did that to us, but that I was allowed to take it from sit-down interviews to now Eminem comes on the show. He's being interviewed, but we're pretending like he's helping Tigger clean up from a wild party. Things, yeah, Eminem, things of that nature. So I was able to use what I learned with Eve as well. And Eve is who made me in BET because nobody liked her. The vice president said she was whack. And he said nobody was going to listen to her. And the Rap City staff wasn't feeling it. I don't even think Rough Riders really knew how to really push her because they used to call her Pitbull in the skirt. And she had a little short cut and glasses with wings and Timbs and football jerseys. But I used to try to push all the time, and everybody used to front on me. Then I had to explain to the staff, I'm from Willingboro, New Jersey. Willingboro is 20 minutes away from Philly. When you grow up in Willingboro, New Jersey, you either hang out in Camden, New Jersey, or you hang out in Philly. I said, I've seen Eve a million times. You go to South Street. I said, if I had a nickel for every chick that looked like Eve that told me no in Philly, I'd have a lot of nickels, yo. I know what to do with it. So at that point, my boss was like, all right. So when I met Eve, I'm like, yo, I'm from Willingboro. She was like, what? So we bonded right away creative. I knew, same thing with Beans. I put her and Beans on television in 19, mainstream television, not radio, right? I didn't introduce their music, but as far as mainstream television, BT's a mainstream network, I put Beans and Eve on mainstream television their first times. Because when I met Beans, I knew him too, from Philly. I used to go down to South Street, Delaware Ave. I used to go to Allegheny Ave, hang out in West Philly, hang out in Baltimore Ave, hang out in South Philly. So I knew Philly cats. So it was like, oh, this is easy. So with Eve, I was allowed to create an image that we see now. Eve could sit right here, right now, and I would tell the same story. She might debate it until I start bringing up certain points. Then she would go, oh, shit, that was you. So I was the one that was said, like, nah, stop bringing her with Timbs and all that on. We're going to make her sexy. So I would do her shoots like videos, model video shoots. I remember with that, the tattoo that she has, the scorpion. That I remember she first got it because it said Stevie J at first. Because she called me, was like, yo, you just shot this show and the tattoo says Stevie J, but can you edit it out? Yeah, because they used to date. And she had his name tattooed. She was goofy enough to get his name tattooed on it, and she covered it up with a scorpion. So I was there in the beginning stages. Her label rep name was Kelly Green. I used to tell Kelly, like, nah, she's going to be sexy. So, and then I used to also play with subliminal programming because I would put Eve shots within frames of Eve in everybody's show. So we had a thing called bump outs and bump ins where we go like Rap City, and we show a Rap City stinger. I would just make it Eve. So me and the editor would play within the frames and like, so it would be like, say, a show with Master P, but within that show, there'll be a quick flame, like one flash, it would be a black background with a red E. Then the next would be a V. The next would be an E. So me and the editor was sitting there laughing like, yo, I wonder if it's going to work. And then lo and behold, I say to this day, do we really know Eve because of her music or her image?
In the 90s, baby, I was a little young, so I can't.
Yeah,
By the time I started watching music, she already popped.
Yeah, no, Eve was killing it. She had that blow your mind. We had discussions because I told her what I was going to do. And I was like, and I told her, I said, you do your thing, I'm going to do my thing. I said, and when you see me after you blow, you ain't got to say nothing. Just give me a hug. 6 months later, she happened to walk in the wrong building for an interview. I happened to be on the set. She looked at me, I looked at her. We was like, I said, I told you. Because I told her she was going to be a star. No one on Rap City believed in her. And the vice president, if it was up to them, Eve would have never made it off the couch.
Okay, so you was bridging the gap at Rap City and putting...
Philly cats.
Okay, you was putting so the whole state property...
They were already set up because you had a dude from South Jersey. Even Gilly. I never met Gilly, but I say you're welcome, bro. Major figures, they would have never got... Gilly the Kid, yeah. They would have never been pushed by Rap City on their own because they was with a label that was a non-hip-hop label. The only label that ever could walk into Rap City or BET and say, this is what we want you to do was Def Jam. But even then, it was only... Like Leo Cohen and all them people, they had no say. They couldn't tell us shit. We ran that. We had so much power, but none of us was after money. We was hip-hop heads. But we had the power. No, Jay-Z never told me nothing. I told Jay-Z what he was doing.
So these are all Def Jam artists, and so you guys had a good relationship with Def Jam back then?
Def Jam had a good relationship with us.
Got you.
There's a difference.
Got you.
That's what people know. That's probably why they don't talk to Rap City people much. We did what we wanted to do.
Was it Rap City or just BET, period?
At one time, it was BET until Viacom bought it. And then once the vice president that I had my difficult time with who made me understand the art of being harassed by a vice president of $1 billion network. Once they came in, BT, they started kissing up to a lot of labels. So suddenly, because you're dealing with money, now the labels are telling you what to do. But Rap City was always the outlier because we didn't listen to that. We used to tell the dude, Kelly G, I don't care about how much you got paid for that. Like, I'm not running the video with some order because this label paid you. I could care less. So we was always a problem. They couldn't stand us because we was always going to do what we was going to do.
Okay, so while at BET, you mentioned like you had problems with the vice president. Who was the vice president?
Who, Stephen G. Hill? The one who's married to Shantae Moore.
So Bob Johnson's the owner of
Yeah.
BET.
I had a run-in with Bob Johnson, too.
You said what?
I had a run-in with Bob Johnson,
Okay,
too. Bob was a cool dude, though. I say it with a smile. So
Growing up, I always thought Stephen Hill was the owner. I don't know.
Stephen Hill wasn't the owner.
Okay.
Bob Johnson is why I would say when people tell the story about Puff or Diddy blowing up Kid Cudi's car, that it's believable. Yeah. Bob Johnson was he was a cool cat, and him and Deborah Lee. It was known what was going on between those two, but it was weird because it wasn't a disrespectful. It was kind of crazy. We all knew that Bob Johnson and Deborah Lee was a thing, but you never heard anybody talking negative about it. And you never heard anybody taking it short.
Bob Johnson was married.
Yeah, but we all knew that him and Deborah Lee was a thing.
Okay.
And at the 25th anniversary, he let it be known because he told her to give him a lap dance. And we was all like, yo, Bob crazy, right? But it was, and I found out, not through rumor, because how I found out being fresh out of college, I'm on it, right? So I'm coming across a lot one day, like my second month in there, and I see this light-skinned, thick thing walk across the parking lot, so I'm on it. Because DC has so many women. And she had these boxes. I'm carrying the boxes. I'm talking, and talking that whatever I'm saying at 20 years old to this woman. And she goes all the way up to the top floor. And I remember saying something to her like, oh, you must be important. And she was like, yeah, something like that. And I offered to carry her stuff out. But she looked at me like this is a cute little kid, right? Like, so she was like, what's your name? I said, oh, my name is DBrad. I'm on a new show, blah, 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 blah. You should come and check me out sometime. And she said, really? I said, yeah. I said, what's your name? She was like, Deborah Lee. I'm the CEO of the company. And I was like, you still going to come visit me, right? She was like, I doubt very seriously. So by the time I get downstairs, three of the women executive, Deborah Tang, Ms. Neely, and another young woman came and they snatched me up and was like, listen, let me tell you something. If you want to work here, you'll never let that happen again. I'm what you talking about. And then shorty, this chick, Patricia, they used to deal with Tavis Smiley. Yeah. I could get Tavis Smiley if I wanted to right now. She rolled up on me and said, look, that's Bob's woman. If he ever catches you doing something like that again, trust me, you'll never work out here again. And everybody was like.
So was that your run-in with Bob?
No, my run-in with Bob was a few days later, I'm crossing across the parking lot, and the gates open up, and I hear this engine revving. He drove a black Porsche, and I see this black Porsche barreling up at me, and I'm in the point where I can't run, so I just for some reason stopped, and I made eye contact with this old dude. It was Bob Johnson. He's driving, looking at me. I'm looking at him. He's looking at me. I'm looking at him. That man came to a screeching halt. Literally, no. What does youngest say? No cap. I promise you, about like 5 feet from me, to the point that my pants, and I'm just looking at him. He looking at me, and I'm looking at him. Then he looked at me. So I just gave him the broad man slow bop from I just hit him with the slow bop as I walked away. He eyed me the whole way. I was like, yo, this dude. Oh, you knew, because he knew. Everybody told me, this little dude. Because Bob, after that, he knew me. Like, I got photos of Bob Johnson where, like, even the one with me, him and Deborah Lee, he strategically places himself in between me and Deborah. It's hilarious. So he's like, yeah. So after that, he knew who I was. On top of the work that I was doing, he was very aware.
Now, what was your run-in with Stephen Hill?
Being groomed. Created Spring Bling. Spring Bling brought in millions of dollars in revenue.
Let's rewind. All right, so you start Spring Bling. That's the...
Created me, Uncle Luke. Actually, it was me and Uncle Luke.
You Uncle Luke?
Yeah.
So you and Uncle Luke start Spring Bling, and that's the one where they, you guys go to Cancun, right?
No, they would go down to Miami.
Okay.
It was originally called Uncle Luke Presents Rap City Spring Bling, but they liked the idea so much that they took it from me.
How was MTV? It was BT.
Yeah.
Okay. So
MTV was always taking BET's concepts, okay, making the music videos. BET Rap City had been doing that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
BT Spring. I definitely remember. I remember they used to always have 50 Cent and like Jay-Z.
Yeah, that was when that was after I was gone. Like they took it from me. That's part of the game. I take it. A lot of times in TV and film, you come up with something great, it gets taken. It's part of the game. But yeah, me and Uncle Luke created that. That's why to this day you'll never hear nobody say I didn't do it. They'll just be quiet about it.
Okay, so you start Spring Bling.
We created Spring Bling, yes.
And what happens after that? What's the?
Well, it's making money, and all of a sudden, then now Eve is blowing. Beans is killing it. Obviously, they were Def Jam, whatever, but they know that I brought these artists. Cameron, he was in between labels, and I used to just get him booked on Rap City.
Like he was going from Sony to, I guess,
whatever the drum was, Undies, whatever. I was cool. I was me and Cam met on the set, and we just clicked. Everybody thought we knew each other for years. I was like, nah, me and this dude just met 5 minutes ago.
Before Old Boy Ken.
Yeah, this is when SDE. He had the album SDE. What Means the World to You? That song. So they was pushing that, but I don't know what his label situation was. But again, not being an industry person, I had his album Confessions of Fire the year before in college. So in my mind, I'm going, yo, what am I front on my man for? I got that plug, homie. This is what we gonna do. So I used to tell Cam, like, yo, people believe whatever they see on TV. Just whenever I'm gonna get you booked twice a month. I'm gonna get you on Fat Fridays, hosting Top 10. Whenever you come act like you doing the most major shit, they're gonna believe it. So there was a bridge in between time when I was holding that bridge for Cam. But they never they never had to look back and go, well, what does he want? Like Eve never one time had to have the Dave, I don't want to get down like that convo. It was always on the stream. She didn't even know half of what I was doing. And the same, but Cam would go out of his way to realize what I was doing. Eve would just take it and go about her business. Beans wouldn't know because he was elsewhere, but Cam was the one that kind of looked and said, hold on, son, you don't even have to do what you're doing. So he would, that's how we got really cool because he's like, yo, this dude is just doing this. So I would think I was one of the first people he came to with the concept of the diplomats. And speaking of Hell Rel, I met Hell Rel because that's how I met him because one time I ran into Killer in Harlem and and I can say it because it's what he said to Hell Rel. He told Hell Rel there would be no Dipset if it wasn't for this dude right here.
Oh, word.
Because he came to me and I took it and I was like, come on, let's go. Let's make it happen. So what you need me to do, I'll get you booked here, I will get you on. And then he took it. And so that's why I'm very proud of all of them.
You got a relationship with Cam today?
Nah, it wasn't about that.
Okay.
He got mad at me one time for not asking for help. Only man I ever let yell at me that wasn't my father.
For not asking for help?
I was going through something, and he had heard about it, and he had reached out like, yo, and I'm like, nah, B, and he just like, yo, D, man, everybody need help sometimes. I was like, yo, but as a man, I need to walk my walk, and he was like, y'all respect that. Like, I feel to this day, if I ran into Cam, if I needed help, he would help me. He knows what I did. But that's not what it was about, or it's about. It was not a money transfer. We hung out a couple times, and he the reason why, he set a bad example for the rest of the industry cats, because I thought everybody was like him, and they wasn't.
Okay, so you got these relationships and you bridged the gap, right? When you said you was being groomed, right? Now, for those who don't know, Stephen Hill is the vice president of BET, and you said how were you being groomed by this executive?
You're invited. You know how I break it down? Like, go back to school and you go, what do you call him, the valedictorian?
Yes.
The smartest kid. He don't do what y'all do. He gets to go to the grown up at Board of Education meetings. He gets to meet, the school chancellors, the school superintendents. That's because they're an A student. I happened to become an A student once Spring Bling started making money. Because other than that, I was just a spoken will. Even them was getting me attention, like, oh, all right, DBrad. I mean, I introduced, well, now I got to give my man Shock of that. But I introduced The Rock to BT. They laughed me out the door. Oh, my God. Same thing with Booker T. And now they named him one of the top. I put Booker T on when I was laughed at, like, don't nobody watch wrestling, DBrad. And I said, well, wrestling's like porn. Nobody watches it, but there's millions of people watching it, right? That's how I viewed it. But so when you're doing all these things and you're making a difference and you're bringing in the money, suddenly you're invited to, parties, parties where you start seeing things that look a little different.
Are these industry events?
Oh, industry events.
After parties?
Industry events, after parties.
Okay.
And so you're invited to these situations. You start seeing things that don't look on the up and up. But again, if you see your favorite artist over there doing it, you with it.
When you say things on the up and up, right? Like, could you elaborate?
A lot of drugs, unnecessary drug usage. I wasn't a drinker. That was my. I smoked weed, but I learned from Styles P to never let anybody roll my weed. Because I seen him one time, and I'm like, yo, and he was like, nah, and I said, you got a valid point, right? So, especially being high, you really seeing shit. So you in the cut, you just watching everything like, that's not a little girl, right? And you're going, wow, I didn't know you was into that. I didn't know you did coke, that kind of a thing. And then everyone tests you to see if you with it. So it happens, everything happens ritualistically in threes. So I'm hanging out, being asked to come about. Let me buy you them new sneakers. Oh, you want those new Kobe Bryant Adidas? I'm a Sixers fan. You give me some AI mids, right? But I am number 13. Sneakers samples coming to size 7 or 8, I believe it is. I'm a 13. You bought those joints. I'm being called side door meetings. Give you an example. R. Kelly. BET knew about R. Kelly way beforehand. We used to crack jokes about this shit. One day, I like my job, so I'm like first to come, last to leave. I walk in, I see about 10 to 12 BET execs all huddled around a monitor. So this is really what got me started, okay, in that being groomed situation. One of them I'm cool with. He said, yo, DBrad, what's up? Hey, what's going on? He said, yo, what y'all doing? We watching a new R. Kelly video. Oh, shoot. I walk in, R. Kelly got a new music video out? They was like, nah, the video with him and the girl.
Oh, you talking about the sex tape?
Yeah. Oh, y'all watching that shit? But now I don't want you to think I'm some great guy for not watching it. The reason why I didn't watch it was because I said to him, don't I want to see R. Kelly's dick? Y'all got to work with this dude at some point in time, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to see his... I'm not thinking about the girl at the time. I'm thinking about the fact that I don't want to see all that from R. Kelly.
The executives were doing it.
Oh, yeah. So how they pay it back is when BET is moving to New York. Now, the funny thing about it, as I rewind, I called them on it, but I was clowning them. Because when I walked out the room, I leaned back, and I was like, y'all know y'all watching child porn, right? And I walked away. Then I got scared. I said, oh, my God, I just lost my job. That was an idiot move. So I would see the same execs in the halls. They would just kind of look at me, and I would look at them. And then how they paid on back is, DC, we're moving to New York. And one day I get a call. I'm invited to this meeting. That's in a room I didn't even know it was in BET. And I walk in, and it's a big oval table. Every single executive that was in that room. Stephen Hill he was not in that room, but he was in that meeting. I'm called in. I'm thinking like, yo, y'all gonna fire me like this? And humiliate me? This is what I'm thinking in my head. Because I'm like, all right, yeah, that time has come. No. Dave said, hey, listen, I know you got the word that we're moving, but listen, we want you to know that. And there may be another BET producer that may have this story. But I can only tell from mine. And my man said, you the first producer we want to ask to come with us to this network. Make the move. And they was like, what do you want? I didn't know to ask for the world, so I was just like, can I get a raise? Got it. I get a promotion? Got it. Can I get my own office? And they was like, well, we can't give you office in this space. We can make sure you have a big cubicle area that's like it. Steven, make sure he gets that. And they was like, anything else? And I was sitting there going, no, I guess I'm cool.
So you thought you were going to get fired, you got promoted?
Yeah. And then they were all sitting there looking at me very satisfied.
Do you think that's because you...
I know that was because. Okay. I know that was because. Because all the people that was there. And everybody, you can read the room, and they're looking at me like, you good. But that's how BET would do. Like, getting away from Stephen Hill a little bit before him, that's how BET would do. We had sexual harassment issues at times in there. But what BET would do was, that's messed up. You know, we're going to promote you. Cass was like, bet. Yeah. And no one ever made the person that told feel bad. That's where DC, in that industry, there was integrity. If you felt that you were being harassed and you showed it, no one around the net was like, oh, suck it untold. They didn't do that to you. And no one complained when they saw you with the new office because they knew why you got that new office. You know what I'm saying? That's why you never heard things coming out of DC, because they would take care of it.
Okay.
Oh, so with Stephen Hill, it goes back to the grooming. So now we're hanging out. Then finally the third night we're hanging out. White limo, stretch limo. It's the man's birthday. Me and him and his main man, Kelly G. We going out. You know, we going to behind the scenes, little situations. And then we coming back that night. He makes the dude get out, Kelly get out. And my man is sitting there in the joint looking at me. And the whole night the whole night they're having conversations about how I need to be with them, join them, leave everybody else behind, but I'm not getting it. And then we're in there, and it was real light though. He was just groping himself and fondling himself. You know, but he was looking at me. But even then, this is 1999. Even then, my conscience was like, nigga, don't you look back at him. So I was looking out the window the whole time, but I could see the reflection of him looking at me, and I saw the reflection where his hands was. Yeah, I saw where his hands was. Now, your curiosity make you want to think you bugging, but I knew enough to know back then. Like I said, this is 2001. This is way before everybody started talking on the internet. But at that time, I thought to myself, this fool probably got a camera in there, and if I even look in his direction, there'll be a photo of me going like this. And it's like, hey, DBrad, we got you. So I looked out the window, but I could see his reflection through the window. My man was fully fondling himself, and it was just like, yo, this is crazy. And then I got out the limo, being the savage that I am, such stunned. I shook the man's hand like, all right, yo. Being the savage that I am, listen, it's funny. We all say this until you're in that situation. Like, everybody, I'll punch him in the face. No, you won't. What you're going to do is be stunned. Like, yo, is this really happening? But it gave me an understanding about the ladies, though. Because I said, oh, shoot, this is what we do as men. Took you out to dinner, and I'm thinking I'm looking sexy, but I'm looking like this dude right here. So it changed that part when dealing with the ladies. But yeah, and so I got out the limo. I got in the limo. I was the man. I got out that Friday night, came back in that Saturday morning, came back in Monday. Everything was different. 3 interns down to 1. Now I got to ask permission for things that I was doing before without. Yeah, it was different.
And there was another incident, right? You said, correct me if I'm wrong, where it was like another executive with him, right?
No, that was the dude Kelly I was talking about.
Okay,
same situation. DBrad don't. I'm not Lil Rod. You ain't gonna hear me tell me when I went back the third time. Nah.
Okay, apologies.
Yeah, take one time.
So didn't you say there was a situation where you was in the middle and they was like, yo,
you need to come. Yeah, it was Jesus on the mount with Satan. He was like, yo, you can have everything, man. Just come with us. But I'm goofy. I'm thinking they talking about black stuff. So I'm like, yo, I'm already on the black station. And they would just look at each other like, this guy don't get it. Because I didn't know who the us was. I didn't know there was another side.
Got one executive to the left, one executive to the right, and you in the middle, and you're saying, they're saying,
you need to come with us. You need to leave all the people you hanging with behind. And I'm already at it with us, bro. We at a black TV station.
AKA meaning like do some things for some change, and you could be the top executive.
But I ain't know that. I had no clue that's what he was getting at until homie got out the car, and then was like, and then it was the funniest part. I even laughed myself because I can laugh at myself. Mm-hmm. The dude that was driving the limo closed the little joint on me. I was like, oh, this. He be with the shh. I said, oh, you a son of a gun. But you know, that was for me. It was just what all I needed to know.
That's what makes it, that's why you see so many buffoons nowadays in television and film, doing things that we know like, wow, Jamie Foxx, you would say that? Wow, Jay-Z, you would actually sit there and do an anti-Semitic commercial? Because they're in a bind, because see, Jay-Z's not gay. I'll use him as an example. He's not gay, but once you reach a certain level within that weapon of mass destruction, you have to give something up. There's something that you're going to give up because you got to be down with that crew. And how do I know? Because it happened to me. That is why I'm standing here talking right now. I reached a certain level in that station. I was the only producer to ever come as a new kid and create a multi-million-dollar revenue generating show. I was the only producer in there that artists would come and be like, oh, I need DBrad to do my show, or that actually helped create an image for artists. So it reached a certain point where now it's time for them to introduce me to the inner workings of this monster that's created. And that's why nowadays we see people caught up on secret societies, but it ain't no secret if everybody's talking about it. And everybody talks about the Skull and Bones, A, B, C, and D, because that's old news. You feel what I'm saying? What's happening is it was passed down to to everyone in the urban industry. So now you have a rapper who will get turned out by a high-ranking label exec because, well, what you gonna do? I mean, if I want to be a rapper and I walk in and the label exec tells me that this is what I need to do for him because, hey, he put my album on when I really wasn't that talented. But they pushed me because they saw that I was something that they could sell. So when you bring me in a room and there's my favorite rapper right there who's in the same room, so that must mean he must have committed the same gay act as I did. So at the end of the day, depending on where your level is within yourself, you go do it. And it's easy for those of us to sit back and say you wouldn't do it. But the majority of us, and I know it's going to be kind of harsh, but the majority of us will never fulfill our dreams. So we'll never be in a position.
I needed to know.
Okay, and you said things slowly start to change. change.
Heck yeah, they changed slowly. That joint changed Monday.
So after that, you pretty much out of BET.
Yeah, but I was always leaving BET to pursue my acting career. I was in the Negro Ensemble Company. And I ended up on Chappelle's show because my homegirl met some dude at the club. I was crashing. She meets some dude at the club, brings him home. They say, I know, he's waking me up 5 in the morning like, yo, I got to do this video. She told me you wanted to work in videos. And, yo, I got to go to one, but, yo, I'm trying to stay. What's the, you know what I mean? What's the joint, cuz? And he sends me to this set in this Chappelle show.
What?
That's how I thank my homegirl for being a slut face that night.
That's crazy.
She know I love her. That's why it's funny on my TikTok page. She was like, you're welcome. I was like, yeah, with Chappelle. I walked in within 5 minutes. I see Dave Chappelle come. I go, yo, dog, you doing music videos? He was like, nah, it's my show. And I ended up staying on the show for the first season. I was his stand-in and playback operator. So I seen all the shit he went through.
Okay, well, that's a whole nother story. So, when
Yeah.
do you go, all right, I'm going to fast forward a bit. When do you go to the Diddy party?
Oh, shoot. My very first Rap City joint we
What
went
year
to.
is this?
98. 99.
Okay.
It was a yacht party. They used to always hold conferences in Miami.
Right.
And it was a yacht party. And it's crazy because we have Melanie Massey, we used to call her, like, Melanie's gorgeous and so talented. She was like the only person I ever seen get Dame Dash to act like he was half decent. So whenever Rockefeller would come, I would be producing him, but we would send her to Dame because we would say a pretty face soothes the savage beast. That's what we used to call Dame, the savage beast behind his back. And that's another story too. But going to that joint, Melanie was going to come through. And I seen a producer who used to work for Bad Boy. He directed Flavor in the Air, and Puff took all his credit. He hated Puff. He demanded that she not go. He was adamant. Like, he was like, as if that was his daughter. You are not going to his party. Straight up and down. I remember that day. I was like, damn, okay. And when we got there, I saw why. I definitely saw why. It didn't shock me because I had been in the house music scene. And the house music scene, the music, really the culture, really the gay culture. It's just all us breakdancing kids that didn't have nothing else to do. We would dance and go to the house music scene, just catch wreck. And there's a club called Shelter in New York. Y'all heard Club Shelter in NYC? Right. Club Shelter didn't close at 3 o'clock the next afternoon. And it was a house club. But when you go in there, you realize where you are, whose culture you're around. And there's dance rooms to go to. So I used to like this DJ called Timmy Regisford and Frankie Knuckles. If they're in room E, you got to walk past A, B, C, and D. Your best bet is to mind your business because it's a high probability if you know you're going to open one of them doors and walk in there and see some stuff that will blow your mind. It will mess you up if you're not sure of who you are. So I knew that culturally already. So when I saw what Puff was doing, I was like, okay, this is from the house music scene, so I know how to navigate.
What was he doing?
It was like 40 dudes, 10 strippers, red light turned to the black light. The amount of, I'm glad my daughter's of age. I think she know her dad is wild anyway.
Right.
The amount of men versus the women versus what I'm hearing is not computing. I don't need to look and see. It's like, and the 10 women that hear 8 are right there. Why am I hearing all this extra noise carrying on and seeing all this extra movement in my peripherals? Time for me to roll out this. Because I ran into that party by accident. I was looking for the men's room. I didn't even notice like the bowels of a yacht.
Okay. So it's a yacht party. So in today's words, they call this like a freak off.
Freak offs is normal in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, but a Diddy freak off.
Diddy freak offs are normal in the entertainment industry.
Okay. But it was brought to light with the Cassie allegations. I always heard it too, like, oh, Diddy party, Diddy after party. But
He wasn't the only one. Why you think no one really saying a whole lot? That was normal. Even on that was normal, dog. Trust me when I tell you this. That's normal. It just depends on what you're. I was into weed and women. I wasn't into drugs and raping women. But I've attended many joints where you're in a big house and it's like you and 3 of y'all go in that room, there or that room. We all meet back up. My first time hanging out with Cam, we was in a big mansion. It's just that Cam ain't a freak dog, so it wasn't no craziness. Nobody. It was a bunch of us. The next day we all eating.
Why they call it freak? Why don't they call it like an orgy or something?
In DC, they call them password parties.
Okay.
You just you get the password, you go, you don't know what party you walking into per se. So you gotta look at who's giving you the password. I went to a couple of them. I just lucked out The times I went.
So you saying the Diddy behavior that's going on is normal?
It's normal, dog.
Absolutely normal.
Absolutely
It
normal.
didn't surprise you not one bit.
Not one bit at all.
Okay.
No, not one bit. Now, what caught me off guard at the yacht party, being fresh out of college, and I got the Source magazine and seeing some dudes that I seen in the Source magazine engage in certain activities when the year before I was a fan of yours, that caught me off guard in the beginning. Like, oh, both. So that caught me off guard. Like, oh, dang. But then you realize it's entertainment. And see, I think the social media age we're in now, how you present yourself here, that's probably who you are. But in entertainment, that's not true. If he's a tough guy on that role, he's soft as hell in real life. If she's gorgeous and she's the baddest chick in that role, in real life, she's insecure. People would never believe how insecure Halle Berry is. My homegirl used to do her hair. She said, I can't pay Halle to think that she's pretty. So it goes like that. That's why you start seeing R&B singers. They be like, yo, this dude can actually fight. Yeah. Most R&B singers are really the tough guy. The rap dude, not his crew around him, but that main artist, nah. I used to be always disappointed with artists that I would meet. I'd be like, yo, I thought this was, that's why I would tell my little brothers, like, you don't want me so-and-so. You'd be disappointed.
So, I seen another interview where you mentioned the yacht party, and you said it made you. Don't hold me to it. You said it was disturbing.
Yeah, that was why. That was why it was disturbing, because it's like, wow, I believe what I read in the source. Oh, this nigga. Oh, that man. Yeah.
Basically, see a whole bunch of dudes
that it's not that they were gay, it's that you believe this image. If you had given me the image that I'll give you a prime example. You know that show Will and Grace? That was a show, Will and Grace, very popular show, where there was a lawyer and there was one guy who played an extra super gay character. Used to love Will and Grace. On Chappelle's show, I go to some office and I'm coming out to production office and I see the back of the dude's head. It looks familiar, but the voice and the heterosexuality coming out of him. And I walk past him, I look back, I'm like, that's the extra gay dude. This dude is straight. So I felt the same way with him, like, yo, you're not even freaking gay. A lot of the dudes who play gay men on TV are straight as hell. I've been on a show. When I was the very first season of the show Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, I was part of the set design team. One of their main hosts was not gay, and I called him being heterosexual. And he looked at me like, I said, I got you, dog.
Did you watch Diddy's directing?
Yes.
What do you think about it?
Very entertaining.
When you watched that documentary, like, is it everything that you knew already, or was it, like, were you surprised when you saw it?
No, it's things that I knew. I was surprised at the lack of integrity that these men showed. And I see why women are so angry at us. Because certain people, like Kirk Burrows, I'm like, dude, like, everybody thought you was his boyfriend. Like, what? Like, you really sitting there telling that story like that? All right. Lil Rod. How many times I gotta hit a segue? And after I went back for the 5th time, it's like, dude, how many times you gotta wake up feeling sore before you go, something ain't right? Like, come on, man, literally, that's how the dudes on Netflix, the dudes on the Diddy record Netflix be like, you know, and after the 3rd time, I said, you know, enough, Puff. You know, because it's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I do. I mean, you walking out. If I had come in here, you was in your boxes, dog, I'm out. Like, dog, I ain't gonna tell you that. You know, after I went back for the 3rd interview, no, it's gonna be one time. And these dudes sat there and told you they did it for the money. He sat there and said, I needed that money.
Yeah, they sold for that.
Kirk Burrows told you, I'm like, how you let that man, if you and I grow up, I don't care where your life take a turn, bro, you're not taking my 25%. I don't care about you coming in here with dudes with bats. I know you're not taking my 25%. So for Kirk to give that up, even the dudes that were the sex workers, don't y'all got daughters and children? What about your family, son?
Yeah, they sold for that.
Like, and you sitting on here, and like, we're in that day and age where you can be a complete sellout, sell your soul, but be a victim. I stay away from the ladies, but I will say this about Puff. He's not Harvey Weinstein, Epstein, or R. Kelly, or Bill Cosby. We all wanted in. If you were in the industry, in the industry at all, I'm not even gonna say urban, and you ain't never been to a Puff party, you was corny. You were looked at as a square. Oh, you ain't never been invited. You never been to a Puff party. His parties were so extravagant. I remember interning at MTV in 98. The woman I interned for got off work, took a red-eye flight to a Puffy party in L.A., showed back up to work the next day smelling like the club. I was like, oh my God, that party was so live. Like, we created that monster. Everybody's guilty. The only one who's not guilty is probably Fifth. Because from the jump, Fifth was like, but we created that monster. We all knew. I worked around Puff numerous times. I didn't party with him in that yacht, but I partied with him in Club Cheetahs.
You said he's not Harvey Weinstein or Epstein, right? But do you think his verdict in the trial was justified?
He should have been tried for killing people's dreams. That other stuff, he just a freak, and everybody was with it until it went too far. See how that go? Because again, unless I'm wrong, most people claiming victim will tell you about 5 or 6 situations that they were in. How many times do you have to be in that situation before you know? We all want it in. Like, I respect Mark Curry. Like, I respect his complaint because the artistry of it, he kept believing that Puff was going to come in. But even with him, after a while, it should have been like, yo, dog, I wrote that song for Godzilla, and I got an ASCAP award. I ain't worried about you no more, Puff. But him, I got it because you're chasing the artistry. He wasn't chasing a check. He was chasing the dream of being an artist. And, well, you feel what I'm saying? So him, I got. Gene Dill, I get because you saw a lot, bro. You probably do feel guilty. You probably do feel like you should have done more. Because I understand that you were a mandated reporter, which meant there's high probability a lot of times you just kind of look the other way because you kind of report all of that. And I get it. I respect Gene Dill. I respect Mark Curry. But a lot of the other folks, it's like, I'll give you an example. There's a gentleman that was on Piers Morgan talking about Puff, going in on him. Yo, Puff stood in my face. He was looking like he wanted to kiss me at the party. I'm never give that brother credit. Kiss me at the party. But while they're talking, he's talking. Piers Morgan is showing footage of him. You know what the footage is showing? This same dude going, yo, Puff, can I get some footage? So I said, so when did this man insult you? Was it before this video or after the video? And this is what you get with this dude. We created that.
So, all right, you spoke out against Puff.
I didn't speak out against Puff. I spoke out against that wild-ass party and what the girls was going through. That's what got me blacklisted.
And this was 2000.
It was right on Wendy Williams' show, about 2004, whatever it was.
So she didn't like Puff either, I remember. And you want to win what exactly happened? Like,
It's over. It wasn't just him. It was the culture of the industry in general. Like the entertainment industry is the one place I've been in life where good guys don't finish last. If you're a good guy in the entertainment industry, you will have the baddest chick you want because they all don't want to be raped and abused. And I learned that being in Club Cheetahs because I would be around where Puff would come in and Carl Thomas is the artist. And I would notice, because I smoked weed, and AJ from 106 The Park at the time had invested in Club Cheetahs. And so he would just let Rap City staff come. So I would be in the VIP joint in the back, like 5 blunts strong, chilling. And the girls that smoked weed would come over there too. And then one day I'd notice there was like 8 glasses on my table. So I got offended. Like, who am I, the lame nigga to y'all? And then Shorty was like, nah, you safe. What you talking about? She said, you don't put nothing in our drinks. So I looked at her and said, well, who does that? She looked at me like, and I got the reputation of being kind of the safe dude. Like, yo, my man won't. So I began to notice, like, damn, like, why y'all? And,
remember that Rick Ross song, put Molly in the champagne,
she ain't know it.
That's normal.
That was normal. That's normal behavior. It's kind of like going, yeah, that's normal, but it's not all on Puff. Most cats was doing that. That was during the ecstasy era. That I was in the Ja Rule 336 era before he started. So that was that era where everybody was doing ecstasy or weed or drinking. So that was just the norm. That's what people aren't talking about. It was the norm.
So in hip hop, the norm is drugs.
The entertainment industry.
Okay, entertainment, drugs.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll is the mantra. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. For instance, when I was on Chappelle's show, he had a director of photography. Good old Dan. Where's the camera at? Good old Dan. Dan had an Italian wife. I'm not into white women, so I've never dated a white woman. So it is what it is. It's gorgeous, but I wasn't into it. It's like, one thing, I've come from a very Pan-African background. It was what it was. And she would always come at me. The Rap Party, season 1, she's at the bar coming at me again. Dan rolls up and says, hey, my wife finds you attractive. What? Yeah, but I told him I did because I was known as the conscious brother. Like everybody knew he gonna talk you about Africa, Egypt. Dave Chappelle knew it. Everybody knew that about me. That never changed. And I told homeboy my shtick and spell, and he was like, wonder if you come back with us tonight. For what? No, I don't know. And he wanted me to have sex with his wife. So I said, where you gonna be? He was like, watching. I said, there's only one penis in the room when I'm around. So, and no, I wouldn't want to do that. It's part of the game, bro.
And what was his position?
He was a director. He got Emmys. Director of photography. I just forget his last name.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he got Emmys.
His freak off behavior
It's this. You can meet an actress, baddest actress you want to meet, and if you on point, you're getting some that night. It's part of the game, yo.
Yeah, that's normal, but I think the part that's getting everybody is like,
what? Because they caught up on the baby oil.
It's the baby oil. It's the drugs, whatever. It's the Puff watching dude smash.
That's whatever.
Him. Like, you know what I'm saying? And this is a party thing. You know what I'm saying?
Cat Williams was correct, though. You got to learn how to tell that man no. I've told Puff no a couple of times. No.
What did he ask you?
One time, it was about working with him. I guess he liked the way that I had stepped to him on the Rap City set because he kept leaving the set to make a phone call. So I got ticked off. So I walked around the corner. I said, yo, Puff, what's up? Time is money. Money is time. And right now, you wasting all of mine. And he looked at me real crazy, then gave his phone to Bentley and was like, or whatever that dude's name was like, yo, don't. He said, come on, Playboy, I got you. And after we was done, he was like, yo, you should probably come work for me. And I said, nah, I wouldn't. I said, I couldn't do that. He said, why not? I said, I heard about you from my senior producer, bro. I don't want to have to kill you. He starts laughing like, oh, man. I was like, no, I'm dead serious. Like, I've heard about how you are. Yeah. So there's been and then there was another time I was in an incident where it was really weird, but.
Puff said, I want you to work for me. That's crazy.
But it was what it was. I mean, I was fortunate to be good at what I did. Like, I can honestly say I'm probably one of the few people that can tell you that Jay-Z said, you're dope before I got a chance to tell him that he was dope. So I was really good at what I did.
I'm laughing because I know you're talented, but when Puff said, I want you to work for me, I can't see it.
You're thinking about this now.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about it in real time. In real time, that's Puff. Right. It's just that I had a boss that was like, don't F with him. This is what he did to me. And you can see, like, wow, Puff, you did him dirty. So that's what I was fortunate enough to have. But if I didn't, I'd have been down with it. I'd have been 100% down with it. 100%. So we all created that monster. I'd heard about him and Kim. She was so gorgeous. If you ever saw Kim Porter in real life, you would melt like, oh my God, you hit her? Like, I was like, yo, you hit her? Wow. I even tried to kick it to Misa one time right in front of Justice just because I'm an asshole. And she was funny. She laughed and then introduced me to her sister. But I remember she kept looking around. I said to her, like, what you looking around for? You ain't even with this dude no more. She was like, now I get what that was like. Now I get what that was about. Like, yeah, all right, but.
Okay, so just to reiterate, all this behavior you see is normal and
it's regular.
It's regular.
You just have to know your limits. I'm a guy that will lead a party at 1 a.m.
Right.
Feel what I'm saying?
Now you mentioned Dame. I want to touch this real quick, right? You said Dame, right? I heard you could say you predicted that everything Dame's going through.
Yeah.
You knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah, I wrote about it in the book I dropped in 2005. Dame was very assholic, yo. Dame was I understood him. That's why I was always the Rockefeller producer. No one, let me explain something to you. We had a board. Rockefeller was always dead last because no one wanted to work with Dame. He was a monster because his main objective was making you know he was in charge. Where Jay was different, where Jay would walk in and go, who's got the most power in the room? Oh, you the producer. Yeah. So Dame was just very rude. But I understood why he was that way because if it was up to Jay, they'd have been doing some of anything. So, but Dame wasn't a nice dude. He was very rude to people. He would make you feel if you let him like, you was a bum ass dude. So no, he wasn't nice at all. And I could get into that story more. Now I like Dame. I think he's intelligent, and I understood him. That's why I would they would literally leave me Rockefeller, like, yo, Rockefeller's coming. Go ahead, DBrad. You take that. Nobody wanted to work with Dame. And if it wasn't for Melanie Massey and Greg Butter Trent, even the execs didn't like Dame. So Dame don't realize that Rockefeller's success Because BET, whether you think we're big or not, we're like the D1 college for everybody. And the execs didn't like them. And they were very close to not being what they were because of Dame.
With everything you saw in the industry, and you writing a book about this, right? And you getting blacklisted and everything coming to the light 20 years later, how does it feel?
It is what it is. You don't ever want to be the first to something like that. I don't feel any sort of way. I don't even feel vindicated because my vindication came through going at the children of the parents that all this debauchery we was doing. So me, I'm chilling. Like I said, I run a student center, bro. I'm a case manager. So I get a chance to go, you know what, yeah, we was bugging. Let me try to make it. I get a chance to work with these, what they call them, YNs, right? So I'm in the trenches with these little youngins. So for me, I'm cool. That's why I would tell anybody, the only people you really should believe telling you these stories are ones who's not making money from it. If you getting paid $20,000, $30,000 in an interview, you still in the same game. You just found another way. So I was accepted. I know what it's like to see my name in bright lights. I can look at Eve and Cameron and Beanie Siegel and all these people that I name, and I can name even more and go, I'm so proud of them. I can watch It Is What It Is every day and go, Cam is killing. Look at Jim over there. Yeah. You dig what I'm saying? I can look at Beans like you got the food business going home. And look at Eve, girl. I knew you was going to date a white guy because you always said you was. You dig what I'm saying? Like, I can do that. And then I can also look up and go, Spring Bling made all that money. But then also in real life, I can walk down the street, Mr. Bradley, whether that kid's on the block smoking weed or hustling, Mr. Bradley, or whether that kid is carrying a briefcase, CEO, Mr. Bradley. I've got children that I've raised that are now 25 that are doing great things or locked up. It don't matter. But it was an influence that I had. So for me, it's cool. Sometimes you wish you could make the money from it, but again, I have a daughter. Do I really want to be sitting on gossiping all the time and getting caught up in internet drama with somebody? And I got a 17, 18-year-old daughter that I'm raising. I'm cool.
I got you. And like I said, I'm going to just wrap it up. Your story's crazy because everything we see today, in hindsight, 20 years ago, you were saying everything. From Wendy Williams to all the old interviews I watched, and they never wanted to put a light on it. And everything you said came in full circle.
That's why they have the people like, I'm the truth. You talk to me, I'm telling you how to heal yourself from all of that. You talk to them, they give you the juicy gossip with all of that. I was there. I can tell you how it was broken. I can tell you how the tones and the frequencies we would do. I was doing it. I was into it. So you can't put me, because I said this 20 years ago. I even talked about Trump 20 years ago that was going to be in office. So I become Black Jesus. Now all of a sudden you got a whole bunch of people following me. And and I'm more of a radical thinker. You don't want them following me.
I got you. All right, brother. Listen, man. I wish I had more time to chop it up with you, man. We gotta wrap it up. It's a pleasure hearing your story.
Thank you, my man.
I enjoyed even researching on my own because it was like a whole different element I was not ready to hit.
Well, it's called Confessions of a BET Producer for anybody on YouTube that wants to watch. And the book is called BET DBrad and Me. It's on Lulu.com, Amazon. Now, my Puffy chapter aged like spilled milk. That's why I ain't been pushing it, because I was big and puff up in that book.
Oh
man, yeah.
We signed out. It's your boy Coach. I got DBrad here. You know what time it is. See the thing is about these, man, the time goes by so fast. I have to monitor my, you know what I'm saying? Really what also helped to in my story, as my man who put the joint up that said it, because you saw the clip my man said, he talked about this 20 years ago. I see. Yeah. He was right. He called me the Black Forrest Gump of the industry. And I said, you're right, because for some odd reason, even 9/11, I was in New York. Like, it was just weird. I've been everywhere. Bro, every time something major has happened the last 20 years. Like, crazy, bro, because you was in the, your boy Coach, you know what time it is, man. You know, every time I'm outside, people always ask me where I got this fitted from. Check me out, Living Large Series. Shout out to Living Large Series. The link is below in the bio. Living Large Series. Whenever you outside doing what you want to do and you want to rep for the town, you got to put that on. Living Large Series.